for the final battle. It's Lando and Study.
That is right, Pocket. Yes, Jay, I'm hoping that this one has the ability to go 5. I mean, I'll tell you what, Atlanta FaZe versus Seattle Surge, so often, right? How many times have we had these franchises face off against each other and see a crazy Game 5, Round 11? However, when these teams matched up a week ago, it was anything but a thrilling Game 5. It's a dominant 3-0 for Seattle.
Oh yeah, and that's crazy to say because every single time it's always went down to the wire. And every single time Seattle have gotten a W, they've never got it done in a clean 3-0. So
right.
I think both of these teams are some of the heavier hitters that we have in the league. This is going to be a battle from start to finish. And on this hotel hardpoint, neither one of these squads have played this against each other. They have basically played every single hardpoint when you talk about these two teams beside Mercado and this hotel. So this is going to be a series where I definitely think we have an opportunity to go 5.
Absolutely, man. It feels like, you know, when it comes down to being on land FaZe, we know that they have that buff when it comes down to being in an environment like this. A lot of questions. It feels like Seattle on the rise and a lot of, you know, public opinions. Atlanta FaZe maybe going down just a tad, given how their Major 4 qualifier performance went, Jay. I mean, it didn't feel like there was a lot of dominant W's that they had. They get a 3-1 win versus Toronto Ultra, but some other W's, right, came in fashions like versus Minnesota, versus Florida, where it went the distance. A lot of people curious to see what FaZe we will see here in match 1.
Yeah, Atlanta FaZe all throughout stage 4. They were actually bleeding. They were bleeding in Search and Destroy. They lost 3 S&Ds throughout that stage. And then even in Hardpoint, this is the mode that they have been struggling with. And the guy that we specifically got to talk about is going to be Slasher. He's currently sitting dead last in Hardpoint KD going into the major. So he's a big guy that always plays to his level of competition, especially on land. So I'm looking at a big performance from him today.
Yeah, we were hearing about the numbers from Slasher. Obviously want to see him try to turn things around. We had the ability to talk with some of our teams actually coming into Major 4, and he stressed it. He was like, hey, I just haven't been feeling well. I've been sick pretty much throughout the entirety here of Major 4, but we need him to be dominant today. It feels like lately for FaZe, especially in the respawns, man, they need all the help they can get, especially in these HPs. But into P2 we go. Currently it is FaZe with those preferred spawns. A great little wave of kills come through. That's a clean 4 down, and now it is FaZe in prime possession of the lobby.
And that's great adjustments already from Atlanta FaZe. They give up 28 seconds over towards the P1. They have to win some crucial gunfights to win the spawns for the next hill. And so far, they have held this down flawlessly. Finally, Seattle are finally able to get a couple kills to find a break. But with only 20 seconds left, now you want to start to hit that rotation. And with all the players from Seattle dropping, they're still spawning at ult. There's only one player here now. It's going to be Mack with his hands full. aBeZy and Slasher ready for the push.
Yeah, we'll see what McKenzie can do. Thankfully, he does have player 8 and Pred alongside of him. So one player coming in from one angle, one coming in from the other. And how about that synergy coming through from the SMGs? The Surge will reign on top, at least for the moment. You do still have a few close spawns coming in from Atlanta, but that is a crucial double coming in early for Surge. We'll see how long they can weather the storm for.
Oh, how long can they hold it, though? Because the pressure right there from Atlanta FaZe, the 2 players who were left in towards the back, which was Cellium and Simp. Cellium is still staying alive. He's waiting for his teammates to get into the play, but he wins another one versus Pred. Seattle's still getting a good chunk of time, though. So if you are Atlanta FaZe, you still got to try to fight this. You're contesting it from the back end with only 30 seconds left. It's trades back and forth. But Seattle, they're winning on top of these trades, man. That's another 3 dead. This is going to be a great rotation, leading to some great time to give themselves a nice little comfortable lead.
Oh, that was a huge 1v1 as well that our wonderful observers were able to catch. If Mack is able to win that, could be a totally different story when it comes down to the bar. But as you said, buddy, Surge locked down the time, looks solid overall when it comes down to the kitchen. But now as we rotate toward next, we'll see what FaZe can try and provide us with, as they'll have preferred spawns, have preferred positioning, and what numbers can Surge make the break, or can Atlanta begin to lock things down? A lot of questions when it comes down to this team on holds. It feels like oftentimes they can be a dominant team when it comes down to positions like this, and at times it's also been their kryptonite. So far doing a solid job down by 30.
Yeah, this has been a great job from Atlanta FaZe because, like you said, it's been their kryptonite, especially on a map like Hotel where they are sitting last in hold percentage. But so far, 30 uncontested seconds over towards the double desk kill. They know where Seattle is spawning, over towards the bedroom side. The trades are on. Simp is starting to get heat up as he's able to find 3, Cellium with the final. And with only 20 seconds left, an instant blow right back from Atlanta FaZe for them to eventually take the lead. Now you're forcing Seattle off that rotation.
Yeah, but this feels like the definition of a boxing match so far. You just see haymakers coming in from both sides and then just quickly Simp. Nice little jab there for 3. Cuts away a few, and that is a welcoming sight if you're an Atlanta FaZe fan. You want to see Simp going off. You want to see aBeZy lighting things up and trying to get the revenge versus Seattle Surge. As we said just a week ago, a dominant 3-0 FaZe. If they can come out, win the opening hard point, boy, would opinions begin to turn. In the restaurant we fly in Seattle, locking things down for the moment, but instantly back come Atlanta.
This has been an absolute mix fest of a hard point to start this game off. Every time I think someone is going to get the spawns, the break is instantly in, or gunfights are just scattered all around the map. Just keeping it chaotic as possible. As Seattle Surge are getting a good chunk of time in towards the diner hill. With only 20 seconds left, Atlanta FaZe, they have to be forced to now cut their losses. Make sure you maintain those spawns over towards top plat. You do not want to let this game get out of hand because 2 players from Seattle are already off the rotation. Simp's going to be the only guy here. Mack with that dead silence can potentially make a play.
See if he's able to do it. Mack will just try to cut away the forces. The spawners from FaZe instantly caught off guard as Slasher. It's Simp and Cellium who were able to eventually drop him pred, trying to cause a dent as well. So wave 1 cleared from Atlanta. What could have been a very scary situation ends up turning out in their favor, but still a lot of time to fight for. Sib aware of that, off to a wonderful start, but that is not a kill that, or rather a gun engagement that he'd like to replicate. Hits the dust really with 17 and 9 currently as his score line, but FaZe beginning to rack up the time. aBeZy ends up falling from the flank, and that's a lovely double coming in from accuracy.
Oh, Accuracy's the only guy from Seattle Surge who got that kitchen spawn, so he's able to at least find those 2 kills, relieve some of that pressure. But now it's all about shutting down Simp, the guy who's currently on a 5 spree. Let's jump around. Let's try to hit a little dancey dance around the hill just to stay alive and earn this cruise missile. Does just that with the repositioning. Whips out the TAC 56, cannot find the final, but Simp, the MVP of Major 2, he's coming alive for this Atlanta FaZe squad. Down 20 points now, going into the second half of rotations.
Oh my word, everybody's hitting some crazy shots. I imagine that the communication with FaZe was absolutely wild in a moment like that. In fact, let's go and see how the comms are sounding right now with the FaZe boys.
I'm holding wine cut. One's cat room. I hear him. I can't really watch that field. Couch, I think. Main, guys, main. Cat, wine, one shot, one shot. Couch is nowhere. Mack is one shot, wine. All right. Couch is nowhere. Win your one. Yeah. I spawn. I'm gonna cut before. Okay, I'm gonna go couch. Stay near Nero. Trying to wait for you guys on patio. I don't see him wine. Pressure. I hear one MP5. Couch is stunned. Wait up. MP5, Brett. Nice, two. He's still down, going down. He's still there. I don't know this guy catches one. I saw one jump. Main. Oh! Nice. Oh, wait. One cut. Going on, I think. Dub. I'll play the back. I'm holding you left. Nice, I'm holding main. I have your left. You need help right there? I'm holding broken. I have time. MC, make sure you block the back. Make sure you stand on the stairs. I have your spot. Thanks. Bro, I heard him. They can be P4, okay? I don't know if you're P4 that. One clock on me. I have your turn.
It's a great little check-in there with the Atlanta FaZe boys as they are very much so trying to fight for that back lobby spawn. Jay, they get a few interesting spawns toward the back, and from there you can tell they're trying to be aware, trying to catch Seattle Surge off guard, and also not hand this over. This is a huge brawl, and man. Surge just walks straight through the front door and gun pretty much everybody except for Simp. He eventually drops, and boy, is that a massive swing in this game.
Oh, that's unacceptable right there. If you are Atlanta FaZe, you heard at the end of those comms where aBeZy was like, make sure Cellium you're sitting in the back to make sure you block that spawn. Because the last time Atlanta FaZe played this map, it was a flawless P2 hill, but with them not blocking, they instantly got broken. But Seattle, they weren't even worried about it. They pushed their way right through the front door and punched Atlanta FaZe right in the mouth to find that break and now give themselves a nice little 60-point lead going over towards the kitchen hill. This has to be a flawless hold from Atlanta FaZe. Down by 50. They can definitely take the lead with a full 60 here.
Yeah, they absolutely can, but it's not going to be easy, right? Versus this Seattle Surge team who, as we know, man, just has the unbelievable slang ability. It just feels like they have that chance to pop off at a moment's notice. Really the highest KD on Hotel Hardpoint right now on the season in Simp, trying to do his work. He and Brett looking to lead the way. The sophomores trying to dominate here inside of the diner. Right now they're doing it. Simp with an excellent shot. Now is giving Surge the control. that they have been fighting for so desperately. Pred eventually drops around the outside, but Seattle continuing to stack up the seconds.
With only 20 seconds left on this hill, Seattle cannot win it, but this is basically a guaranteed map 1 win. If you can close out this final 15, you will put yourself at 246 points, only 4 seconds from you taking map number 1. Now we head over towards the P4 double desk hardpoint, where Atlanta FaZe got a full 60 hold. The last time around, you got the Tiny Terrors being super aggressive on the map, just creating layers for Seattle Surge, trying to find the break through the front end. Right now, the kills are just scattered. Pred starts it off with a big kill onto Simp in towards bedroom. Now Seattle can attack from the front.
It's just so tough. I mean, it's just so tough given the scoreline that we currently have. All you need is one more break, and is this it? Is this where the hardpoint comes to a close? It looks like it's possible. Pred does get taken down. It's a 1v1 for time, and Sib able to gun Simp. As we said, 3 more points to go, and Surge, they're giving it all they got. They want to lock this one up right here. No heroics potentially today. It's a team kill. MC out of the fight with the rest of FaZe holding it down for as long as they can. Another massive 1v1. FaZe very much so still hanging out, but Jay, they've got to be careful. Sib is looking to try to go for these last few gunfights. He eventually drops, and now it's a race on the rotation.
It's a race on a rotation in Atlanta FaZe. They're finding all the kills in the feed. Seattle Surge puts so much pressure on towards double desk that now they're not going to have any bodies over towards the diner hill. So it's only 2 players here, Cellium and aBeZy. What can they do? Simp off spawn at least does take down 1, but Atlanta FaZe, they are making the comeback happen. Seattle Surge, they have to find a break.
You can tell Surge beginning to scramble for a moment. However, those are 2, making 3, all 4 huge entry kills. And in the moment where we thought FaZe could begin their pursuit of a comeback, Seattle once more let us know that this hardpoint was all about breaking. It looked effortless at times. And really, Jay, that to me is the reason why FaZe were pretty much in the back seat, it felt like, throughout this entire hardpoint. Just felt like Surge, whenever they wanted to, whenever they were able to really formulate something together, FaZe just could not lock down a hill, really, at all.
That's what they do on this map. They tend to struggle on their setups, and Seattle Surge, who are usually known for being one of the best breaking teams in the game, on Hotel specifically, they are 10th overall, so they usually don't find a lot of success. That's telling me that Atlanta FaZe, their setups are very, very weak. Seattle Surge were able to pick them apart, read how they were going to play, influence the spawn when it was needed to, and it didn't even require a lot of slaying. The only player that goes positive on the team is Sid, 33 and 18. Yeah. Obviously, the guy goes off, but it just came down to some crucial gunfights and crucial moments that Seattle were able to walk away with. You think about the P2, where they just break right through the front. Even on the kitchen hill, where Atlanta FaZe rotated early, and Seattle Surge were able to break on through the front end, pitch through every single angle. Those are things that just cannot happen at this level, as Seattle Surge are able to take a nice little 1-0 lead in the series. And so far, they're 4-0 in maps versus these Titans the last time they played combined.
Yeah, and I mean, it's funny that you bring that up, because it's like, this kind of feels very similar to how we started off the last series when they played each other. I mean, the scoreline's a little closer. It was like 250 to 174 back on HyDra. This time it's obviously a 30-point game, but the reason why I say it's similar is because it was Simp who took over, man. I mean, he looked fantastic the last time that they played in an opening hardpoint. As you said, he goes for 33 and 18, puts up nearly like a 1.8 KD, I think, overall. So impressive stuff from him, but it's another frustrating loss, it feels like, man, if you're FaZe. I mean, they've talked so often, whether it's been, you know, to us, or even if it's just been in streams or in interviews, about how, hey, we're looking great when it comes to the hardpoint in our scrimmages. It just hasn't translated, and it feels like we're finally being able to dissect where the issues are coming from when it comes down to FaZe. It's just maybe the communication moments when teams are trying to break their setups.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing, man, because we know Atlanta FaZe. They are some of the best killers, the best slayers to ever touch Call of Duty. So it's not a problem in that category. It's just right now, whenever I look at Atlanta FaZe and their respawns, more specifically in hardpoint, it's just simply their setups, man. They're playing too tight to where one person drops, he's going to spawn all the way across the map. They're not really creating layers, and they're also not really blocking spawns in certain situations that are giving the other teams free pinches. So these are little mistakes that Atlanta FaZe, a team of their caliber who have been putting in a lot of work to get better at this mode, will eventually be able to figure it out. But when you're playing against a team like Seattle or any of the top teams in hardpoint, we will continue to see this struggle due to the lack in fundamental setups.
Yeah, it's not a welcoming sight as well as we took a look through the maps and modes that the next hard point that we could potentially have, we'll see if we can get there in the first place, but is that HyDra, a recent hard point that Seattle just took versus Atlanta FaZe as well, which then I guess partner starts to put more pressure on FaZe in this upcoming search and destroy. What can you tell us about Hotel when it comes into both these teams on the year?
Hotel Search and Destroy for Atlanta FaZe. It's been a great map for them. They have an overall 8-3 record. They are the second best attacking team going up against Seattle Surge, who really haven't played this map ever since Major 3, where they fell short to OpTic Texas in a 6-1 victory. That was all away in March 11th. Now we find ourselves in 420, almost a month later, a little bit more than that. So they haven't been able to play this one. So they have to be able to just adapt to what FaZe do well on this map. You see the numbers coming in. Overall, going into Major 4, this is their search and destroy. 21-12. Unbelievable. Their hard point, all right, that's their biggest thing that you have to look at. It's like, with a team of this caliber, you cannot struggle in that mode. But in search and destroy, unbelievable. 35-12. We know that they went on that 15-game S&D win streak, but ever since that happened, they are now 5-3 in search and destroy. They're actually starting to bleed. So I think if you are Seattle Surge, this is definitely an opportunity you can take advantage of if you can walk away with this S&D.
Yeah, we'll take a look at the numbers. Obviously, here in Hotel Search Destroy so far throughout this season, obviously, it is heavily going to favor Atlanta FaZe. As you said, this has pretty much been one of the maps that has really felt like a playground for them. A 52% first blood rate. Obviously, the round win percentage is also looking pretty solid as well. 8-3 on the year. Seattle 2-4, but I guess the positive bit, it feels like for every team right now in the league, is that you have the ability to watch Atlanta. Like if you are FaZe, you can't watch your own VOD and really learn from it, because there's really nothing for you to try and perfect because of how solid that they looked. We've seen FaZe try and even bring out a few new maps. Like I said, Fortress Search Destroy, the last time these teams played, that didn't go well for them. But back to Old Faithful we go. Into round one, it is Seattle with pretty much full control over this B side. They instantly went all 4 into Kitchen, and right now it is paying off quite nicely.
Oh yeah, there's a free bomb plant. 4v4 on a retake. Atlanta FaZe have to try to find their way into the Kitchen. Cellium starts it off with the snipe, but Mack is able to find 2 and keep the numbers in favor of Seattle. So it's all up to Simp and Slasher in the 2v3.
See if they can get done. Slasher, great kill. Pred in the meantime, able to find 1 as well. So trades obviously will favor Surge with the remainder of this round. But what can Slasher do? Not a whole lot. I think it's Mack at the end of the day who ends up finding the final kill. It was 2 prior to that. Wonderful work coming in from the SMGs as we'll take a look. Yep, it is Mack with the hat trick. Jay, do you think Mack is maybe the most important player in this series?
Oh yeah, Mack without question. At least for Seattle's sake, Mack is definitely the guy that if he's able to do what he does best, that's like sit on hill, get his huge one-on-one gunfights. He's the most important player for Seattle because you know what you're going to get out of Pred. You know what you're going to get out of Simp. And accuracy, as of recent, he's been a guy on a mission as well. So Mack is the guy. If he's taking over, just like he did the last time that these guys matched up, clean, easy work for Seattle.
Yeah, you just wonder sometimes like what player has the ability to like really get you over the finish line, and it just feels like so often in these historic battles between these two, it's just so many different amazing plays come into mind when it comes down to Mackenzie. But into round 2 we go, and Pred is quickly out of the fight. So sweat off the brow of your FaZe. You've gotten rid of the Aussie, and now what can you do in this 4v3?
Yeah, now in the 4v3 you go. Simp finds a second. Accuracy at least there for the trade. So now it's a 2v3. aBeZy's turn to strike. Takes down accuracy. Now it's all left up to Mack. The info is there, and the teammates go for the chow. As Atlanta FaZe, more specifically the Tiny Terrors, take over in that round to tie it up at 1. And one thing that I really wanted to talk about is how good Atlanta FaZe is on their attacking rounds on this map. They're second overall, and believe it or not, they do it without getting the bomb down. They are the second best team on this map. They are 11th at getting the bomb down. So it just tells me right there that Seattle have to be ready for their 2-2 split. They're not picking up the bomb off the rip. They're dropping it towards the middle of the map, and then they're just playing the 2-2 split to get the info. Once they get the info, you get a couple players to rotate back. You just have to be able to read that if you are Seattle, because they don't get that bomb down. Just hold strong on your setup.
That's so weird too, because like we talk about like maps like Embassy, where that is their specialty. Speaking of specialties, there's the signal. It's becoming a prominent thing here in the CDL. I think it was Cell, actually. It was the first one to bring it out. And right now it is looking lovely. See if he can put that thing on rapid fire and maybe play a nice little tune for us. Maybe the jukebox could be a thing here in Hotel. But round 3 starting off quite nicely for FaZe. Accuracy very much so aware of the snipe that could be in his face very soon. having to back on up, rejoin Sib. So you got the 2 ARs left for Seattle. We'll see what they can accomplish. Problem being is that, well, you've got quite a few FaZe members established in the middle side of the map. So no matter what bomb site you go to, FaZe are most likely going to know about it.
Yeah, FaZe are just fully set up for the aggressive push towards either side. Simp finds the timing, is able to take down accuracy. Now it's all left up to Simp. Trophy in the back of his pocket. At least he's able to take down Simp. Make it more manageable for the 1v2, but you see both players from Atlanta FaZe, they're just watching the cross. Slasher as Cellium is back. Cellium's actually gonna miss a snipe, so Simp can make this happen 1v1 versus Slasher.
And right after Slasher, you're thinking 15 seconds left. Does he have the ability to make the way? Make his way all the way over to B? We will find out.
The timing.
I don't think he's gonna get there. No, he's not going to. I don't know if he got that. We will find out. Did Simp get the plant in time? No, he does not. A slight hesitation, a little bit of a movement change, and he has got a shot. But in that moment, if you're Slasher, you're thinking, hey, like, you know, surely there's no way that he goes for the rotation. He does. High risk, high reward play does not pan out. FaZe go up 2-1.
Oh, man. It almost came down to literally a millisecond right there. If Sib is able to get that bomb down, it's about 15, 20 seconds before Slasher even finds himself on the right side of the map. With no time left, Sib almost for the 1v3. Slasher's able to clutch up on the 1v1. For now, Atlanta FaZe to go up 2-1. And they're back to the offensive strategy. Get that bomb down, play for your info, go for the 2-2 split. But this time, Seattle Surge, they're playing for that mid-map.
And Joe, why are we seeing FaZe just leave the bomb in spawn? Like, oftentimes we're like, oh, that's a mistake. Why is FaZe doing that right now?
The reason why is because you just simply play for your info. You know, if the guys that go over towards double desk, towards the left side, towards A, you just want to see a couple of those guys on that side of the map. Once you get that info, then you got to decide if we want to rotate it over towards kitchen or rotate it back over towards that A site. Right now, Seattle Surge, they really haven't given up anything. That's why they haven't seen Atlanta FaZe make a move yet. But Pred strikes first. Cellium is there for the trade. 3v3. Bomb should be going down today.
Yeah, thankfully, if you are Atlanta, I was going to say, though, you do have player number 2 who has made a bit of progress. But how about the close range fight there for MC as he will quite literally drop the mic right on Mack's dead corpse. And there you go for FaZe. An excellently played round. But my God, it definitely came down to some massive 1v1s.
Oh, man, I can't believe Cellium was able to win that one-on-one versus Mack over towards Shandy's. That's attack up close and personal versus a aBeZy, but we all know Cellium is one of the most difficult kills in the CDL that there is. As he just makes it look easy, finds the final 2 kills on the round. Atlanta FaZe up 3-1.
Did you ever play against Cell, Jay, in your career?
Thank God. Thank God I didn't have to. He would have put me into the retirement home sooner probably than later.
Any like online tournaments, like at all?
Nope.
Okay,
I don't believe so.
Fair enough. I would have loved to have seen you guys duel with the snipers. That would have been a blast to see. Maybe in ranked, it could be a story to watch at some point. But right now, Cell bringing back out that signal. See if he can connect quite literally in more ways than one. Sib, oh my God, he sees the shoulder. He sees the shoulder. And Sib not going to give him anything. Maybe he does. It's a hip. It is a hip shot that will take down Sib. Mack as well will fall. We say goodnight to Lamar. As that is all up to Pred now. 1v4. What do you got, buddy?
What do you got, Predator? Well, you're a phenomenal S&D player. 3rd best overall S&D KD throughout stage 4. The 1v4 versus Atlanta FaZe. It all starts with 1. Absolute beamer onto aBeZy. Time is starting to tick. Dead silence is now earned, but this might not be the opportunity you want to invest it. All the players from Atlanta FaZe are saying, screw it, we're going to get with the bomb plant. We're watching that bedroom from so many different angles. Eventually, Cellium is able to line it up with the Signal 50 to close out the round. 3 rounds in a row for Atlanta FaZe. And this is why they are the best S&D team in the game.
Yeah, I mean, you just add in that extra layer as well. Somebody as nasty as someone like Cellium, who's just obviously very, very talented, no matter what the weapon that you have in his hand, but obviously hitting some flicks, hitting some wonderful shots. And as we said, hits the hip of Sib. Definitely a little frustrated being in that godheady where he was. A prominent position that quickly gets opened up. And from there, it is now 4-1 in favor of FaZe. 1 kill away is Cellium from earning that cruise missile. We'll see if the positives can only stack up. Will the rich get richer? And right now for FaZe, they've got quite a bit of real estate over at B. That restaurant absolutely belongs to them. As they look to set up shop, we'll see what the strategy elects to be. Maybe opening up their options and maybe trying to fake out Surge here, Jay.
Oh, that's exactly what they're trying to do. They know that they put a lot of pressure over towards that diner side. Seattle didn't get anything with the 4-stack over towards A. So they decide to hit that rotation. Unfortunately, it does not work out for them as Simp and Predator able to find the first two. 4v2, finally a man advantage for Seattle on defense.
You can see how much of a frustrating gunfight loss that is from Simp. It looked like he did everything right except for pretty much take down the guy. And now from there, 2 quick picks have turned this round on its head completely. As for aBeZy and Slasher just trying to unite, because I mean, you can try to get that bomb down over at A, but if you're the man planting down the bomb, you've got no cover, you've got nobody on Overwatch. However, aBeZy trying to lead the charge, he will drop, and now it is all up to Slasher, and he gets melted there from Sib. And boy, did you need a round like that if you're Surge trying to remain alive 4-2.
Yeah, big round right there from Seattle. I thought that round was definitely going against them when they decided to hit that rotation back over towards Kitchen, but Atlanta FaZe did not commit that bomb plant over towards A. They wasted so much time on the attacking side that Seattle were able to read the play, find the first two, and then pick off the final 2 players to stop the bleeding for now. Down 4-2, back on the attack. I would like to see Seattle just be all-out aggressive towards one site. We saw it happen in the first round. You had a lot of success over towards B. Can they replicate that again?
So that be put into motion very soon. You know the strategy typically is for Atlanta. Oftentimes Slasher is going to be the one hanging out toward back B. However, it is aBeZy able to join him. Slasher finds his pick as well. The SMGs have been found, and now they will call upon Simp to go for the flank. In the meantime, aCBeZy will put up his second kill on the board. Sib tagged up, but not yet bagged. Simp with all the information in the world. There is surely no way that Atlanta allow for this round to slip on up. Big 1v1 on the right side of our screens. And it's Sib who's able to take it. And now it is Sib all left up by himself. A 1v2. It was a 1v3 previously. He made it close earlier. And in a very similar spot to the map. We'll see if the plant can go down. But job number 1 is really to try to find another pick.
Yeah, he has a lot more time on the clock this time around. Try to clutch up this round for his squad. Going to begin Cellium and Simp. You know they're running around as an army of 2, and it's only a matter of moments before Simp is going to decide to attack. Great shots to hit that route on the flank. Wins the one-on-one versus aCBeZy, and then stays alive long enough to find a final kill onto Simp. Does not miss a single bullet. That's Simp the pimp right there. Atlanta FaZe, game point.
And right now for Atlanta, trying to improve their search destroy record versus Surge on the season. Currently 5-2, trying to make it 6-2. And they are also 2-0 versus Surge on Hotel S&D so far throughout this year. Obviously trying to make it 3-0 and 1 round away from doing it. But if we know anything about this matchup historically, the game is never done until the W pops up on your screen. Surge very much so still have a chance. But it all starts with a round like this, and maybe it all starts with an opening pick. Mack tagged up. Thankfully has some teammates to rely on. Afraid enough aBeZy will close that door and make things a little bit easier to establish himself in the base. That is going to be a headache to deal with if you're McKenzie.
Oh yeah, because now you're just checking all the different angles where aBeZy can potentially be.
Hello.
Not gonna invest that dead silence. It's time for aBeZy to strike. He finds another first blood onto the map. Now Atlanta FaZe puts themselves in a 4v3 situation where you should potentially be able to get that bomb down, but Simp is causing them problems from bottom luggage. Kremp pops that dead silence. Might be time to go, but Simp takes care of him. 4v2. Atlanta FaZe looking to close this one out now.
Accuracy. Throws a nade, says a prayer. Tries to gun Simp. 30 seconds still to go, and as Simp will fall, it is all up to the Iceman. 1v4, and he's got everybody staring at him. Atlanta FaZe respond valiantly here in the game 2. As that land search and destroy record looks that much better. Now 19-2 on land so far throughout this season in this very game mode. Jay, that was clinical.
Yeah, they just simply outclassed Seattle in that search and destroy. I thought when Seattle came out and took the round number 1, that was pure aggression. They were going to be able to set the tone, but Atlanta FaZe doing what they do best, winning attacking rounds without even getting the damn bomb down. Unbelievable work from them to close this search and destroy out 6-2. They find 6 first bloods compared to Seattle's 2 first bloods, and that is eventually the story of the map as Atlanta FaZe are able to tie the series up at 1. And way better than the last time that these guys played. They were actually going to be able to see a map 4.
Yeah, right. It's the one thing that's guaranteed. Maybe we could even have a game 5. We've not had that yet so far on the day. This one we thought maybe had the legs to get there, but a wonderful response there if you're Atlanta FaZe. I know oftentimes you were questioning, you know, what is Surge's Search Destroy going to look like on land here on Hotel. It feels like lately the conversation has been around the extra pieces. You know, Pred has obviously been great in S&D. We were curious, you know, what are we going to see from Mack? What are we going to see from accuracy? Not a great performance here from Lamar. I know doesn't walk away with any first bloods, only 2 kills through our 8 rounds here in game number 2. But that means, like we said, this is going to be a very fun series. It has always already been set up to be that way. When we come back after the break, we are headed to some El Asilo. It's the final match here of day number 1. Make sure and stay with us as Major 4 continues after this.
The Call of Duty League is brought to you by Monster Energy, the official energy drink of the CDL. And upgrade your game with the Scuff, the official controller of the CDL. The Call of Duty League is brought to you by the new series Citadel, premiering on April 28th, only on Prime Video.
How's it going, friends, and welcome back. As we said, it is the final match here of day number 1 at Major 4. There you can see a shot of the flank. Looks like we got Joey D breaking some things down on a classic matchup here in the CDL Atlanta FaZe taking on Seattle Surge. As we're through 2 games, it is tied up at 1-1. Both pretty, I don't want to say dominant dubs. I mean, it was a 30-point game in the hard point. Surge looked very solid, but when it came down to that hotel search and destroy, it was Atlanta cleaning things up quite nicely. Jay, we're headed to LSC low control. How do you feel about this one?
Oh, this is a tough one, man. This is a tough one for Seattle. I mean, not Seattle, for Atlanta FaZe, because these teams both recently matched up on this map specifically, and it was Seattle who were able to walk away with it in a clean 3-0. Seattle have just been outstanding when it came to control all throughout stage 4. They go 4-1, and a majority of their success was on this map. The last 5 times that they played some LSCLO, it's been all W. So for Atlanta FaZe, I'm pretty sure we all know that they are one of the best teams on the map on defensive side, and that's due to the amount of slaying that they're able to bring. But Seattle Surge, last time they played, Seattle Surge, every time they went 2 down and Atlanta FaZe are starting to get aggressive on the map, playing for that map control, Seattle Surge are able to shut down that pressure and eventually stack the points. So has to be a different game plan if you are Atlanta FaZe. When you find the kills, let's just play our corners this time around.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, we had the chance to talk with Revan from the Seattle Surge coming into Major 4, and he was like, yeah, it was a little difficult for us when Fortress was removed. It was such a great map for us when it came down to our rotation. We had to adapt, right? We had to get better at Hotel. We especially had to get better at LSCLO, and boy, have they, Jay. As you said, all 4 of their dubs and Major 4 on control have come on this very map in a most recent 3-0 Smackfest versus FaZe. So Surge trying to continue their dominance. Meanwhile, for Atlanta, trying to figure things out, trying to go back to the drawing board and see what works. But the number one thing that I remember, man, when we saw this matchup happen just a week ago, was how efficient Seattle was in getting segments. It felt like every single life, every single team fight, they were walking away with some ticks, and right now they've got their first one on the board.
Yeah, first one already done at B, but Slasher and Cellium are able to combine for 2, making all 3 dead in the feed. Farthest player pushed up is going to be aGeZy, so he has to be focused on, and Simp, with that TAC 56 in hand, is able to take him down. So time to hit that reset button if you are Seattle. Probably hit that rotation over to Ray. Now that you find a couple kills on the map, but Atlanta FaZe, they're just keeping the kills stacked. Not going to clean 2 to 3 dead. Always staying pushed up on the map, maintaining map control, is making it a lot more difficult for Seattle to try to get out of their spawn. But finally, they're able to get on the B point. Second segment about to be it.
And this is usually where Seattle can start to wield their magic. However, accuracy and his wand pretty much hit the deck very, very quick. And now it is up to Pred. That second segment does not come in on B. That is a huge stoppage there if you're Atlanta. As we said, a Seattle team that just seems to be figuring out LSCLO attack so well has absolutely been thwarted potentially here in round number 1. We'll see what Pred can try to do. Goes low, he eventually falls, and that should be it. Doesn't look like anybody from Seattle is going to be able to get on any of these objectives. So very solid first round. Simp, oh, so close. They had some numbers as well, but FaZe do just enough to squeak by in that round 1, Jay. Solid defense.
Oh, solid defense. Only allowing 1 segment as well. We're worried about Atlanta FaZe losing those map control whenever they lost a couple of those gunfights, but every time 2 went dead, they had the answer immediately to find 2 of their own. Could never allow Seattle Surge to get fully set up or fully dedicate themselves on how they wanted to attack the map, as Atlanta FaZe come out strong on the first defense to go up 1-0.
We'll see what they can try to do now on the attacking side. Oftentimes, as we talk about, man, when it comes down to control, when it comes down to LSCLO, you need to have the Slayers, right? You need to be able to get out of your base. It just feels like versus this Surge team who just has the ability to match you in that slaying from time to time. They're going to need some crafty plays, going to need some players to go on some sprees. It needs to be a team effort. And right now, Simp trying to lead the charge. Does eventually fall, but definitely set things open and allowed for a bit more map control from his squad mates. And now it appears that the initial A attack now has decided to be a rotation over at B. And right now they've got numbers. This could be a very quick B zone.
This is the perfect rotation from Atlanta FaZe. They know how easy it is to take control of A. We want to get B, which is the more difficult point, out of the way first.
Oh,
aBeZy still staying alive in towards bottom. Tools, him and Slasher combined for 2. Second segment is already going to be complete. As Atlanta FaZe should find themselves in a situation to extend this time by a minute. Closest player pushed up is going to be Mack. You take care of him. B point is all going to be yours. And now this can get scary if you are Seattle. Now that's 3 dead in the feed. You know you're getting those back left spawns. Now you have to get out of this base with Slasher and Cellium trying to trap you. This is not good signs for Seattle.
It is not. I was going to say Pred actually ends up taking down both Slasher and Simp. So you saw those two really just trying to get in Surge's base, make them have to work for every single inch of map positioning. They eventually get dealt with, but there is still a setup now from Atlanta. Cellium does get wiped away, and so now it is only aBeZy who is past that 50-yard line. But Slasher continues to be a difference maker. Take a look at that score line, Jay. The man is 15-4.
That's all dead. The Liddy goat. He said, I'm a little bit different on land. And so far, he is showing it. As the first segment is already in, you have top radio control. Seattle, it's time to go, because it's going pretty damn quick. That's already 2 ticks in. 3 players from Seattle towards bottom gym, and Slasher cuts down 2. That's 3 dead. Make it all 4. Atlanta FaZe come out and dominate in the first defense and make it even more dominant on the attacking round to go up 2-0.
My word, Thanos. Bringing out one of the Infinity Stones, a reality one at that. A reality check here for Surge, as that is just one of the more dominant rounds that you will see on LSELO this season. I know we can't see Slasher, but I see those hands moving a little bit. You can see the man is hype, trying to coordinate what would be one of the faster LSELO controls that we would see on this year, if they can lock up this third and final round. But this has just been excellent work, Jay. We were talking about how it needs to be a team effort. And right now, it is the old man on the squad, the old head, doing everything right now for the team. 1 away from the cruise. Trying to beat accuracy, and there you go. Cruise missile in the back pocket. Looks to put in some shots onto Civ, but that is wonderful work coming in from Slasher there.
First segment, pretty sure it does not get complete yet, but you still have Fred roaming around towards this courtyard side. It's going to be able to complete for now, but that's 3 to end in the feed. TTU still putting that pressure on over towards A. So now Seattle Surge all trapped towards back white. aBeZy with that silence invested. Should be able to come up behind. A couple players from Seattle get a couple freebies. Only takes down Pred, but his teammates now know where the pressure's coming from.
So now current 2 versus 2. Obviously, this is a massive fight in the middle. So Mack's able to win that. And now here for Seattle, what goes from a 2v2 is now a 4v1. In the midst of that, Slasher looking to bring in reinforcements from the Skyz. Homing missile inbound. And that cruise missile is able to deliver onto accuracy. So with that, Surge, they have to separate. They have to scatter. 1 zone captured at B, 1 at A. But boy, do you need something special. Time continues to tick, and Pred, he's not finding those typical kills, but thankfully his teammates are able to focus out Cellium. And from there, if you're Seattle, you gotta hop on this point, try and stop the time, as they'll be able to do that for the moment. And really, it's just a matter of playing for picks. All of these mean so much right now for Surge, as that's now going to be Pred's 3rd in a row trying to finalize things here at A.
Yeah, A's going to be done and dusted. Good work from Seattle to win those key gunfights over towards Radio Tower. Once you take control of that side of the map, A should be pretty free. Now it's all about finding the kills on the exit. Simp finds 2, Slasher finds a 3rd. The knife is out for Slasher. He does not spot Simp, but at least now Seattle have somewhat map control, because on the opposite side of the map, the Tiny Terrors are super aggressive in towards white. aBeZy finds his 2nd, and now you're forcing Seattle Surge to overextend every life.
And props to Simp. I don't know if he spawned there or if he just instantly ran through middle. I was gonna say he just instantly got past that 50-yard line, finds a pick. So there was still a glimmer of hope. Absolutely, if you're Surge, you had that extra minute, and now that zone begins to fly. What could be the final major team fight of this game continues to favor the boys on FaZe. Mack will fall. Pred, the last one alive. And right now, he's trying to deliver as much as he can to the team, whether it's kills, whether it's communication, or some long shots. Putting in some work as Surge trying to bring this one back the best way possible, but Simp ends up getting 2. This has completely spoiled everything.
Oh, that's not supposed to happen. Like, Pred gets the info onto Simp. He gets him absolutely one shot, but his teammates could not find a trade, and he has not dropped ever since. Earns himself the cruise missile with only 20 seconds left. Now you can invest that just in case it gets a little scary, but this is looking like a clean 3-0 from Atlanta.
It absolutely is. The time is ticking away. This cruise missile is more like a firework as FaZe come through here on aBeZy control and absolutely dominate. Simp puts the final few to bed, and Surge have got to be stunned. Just a week ago, they were the ones walking away with the 3-0 here on aBeZy. But now it is FaZe who were able to deliver one themselves. Excellent work coming in from those two on your screen, Jay. It felt like it was a Slasher and Simp show. It was the Litigoat in the first few rounds, and Simp took over from there. Momentum fully in favor of FaZe right now.
Oh yeah, that was just too easy, man. Like, we talk about the opening defense. You know what Seattle are able to do on their attacking rounds. They're the 4th best team on that map at winning a couple attacking rounds and then even walking away with a couple segments. But Atlanta FaZe, with their slaying, were able to look like the Atlanta FaZe of old before they lost to this squad on this map specifically. You see the slaying from Slimp. You see the great slaying from Slasher, who had such a phenomenal start in this one. When you walk away with a defense, you dominate on your attacking round, then you put yourself on defense with a couple of cruise missiles to work with. That's just easy work right there from Atlanta FaZe to put themselves up nicely in a 2-1 lead into the series, because now, even if they lose this game for a hard point, which has been their worst mode, especially on HyDra, where these two teams have recently matched up, they have that aBeZy search and destroy just in case in the back pocket for that game 5. So Atlanta FaZe could not be in a better position right now.
Well, it's so funny, like you said, like we go from, okay, well, FaZe, they lose a hard point, then they bounce back in the search destroy, and now we have our questions, like what is the aBeZy going to look like? Just a W right here. Obviously, it puts FaZe up 2-1, but it just so quickly swings how the entirety of this series looks, how the entirety maybe of this tournament looks for FaZe, right? We're talking about how they need respawn victories. That is a very welcoming sight if you're an Atlanta FaZe fan. Hey, maybe we can't win hard points, but we can definitely rely, it appears like, on controls. And then the guys who are leading the way are really the two guys it feels like we're just not talking a whole lot about lately, Jay. Obviously, we could talk about Cellium for hours in terms of just his raw slaying talent. aBeZy, considered one of, if not the best player in the game. But right there, you just had Slasher and Simp go for 46 and 21 combined. And like you said, they've got that guaranteed game 5 as well. It very well could be a 2-3-5 or maybe just a 2-3-4 here from FaZe, trying to deliver something special. But Simp, 25 and 11, absolutely had himself a wonderful map. Did it on the hotel search destroy, brings it into the game 3. But now, Jay, we focus our attention into the HyDra. And as we said it, this was also a map that we saw these teams play just a week or so ago. It was Surge who walked away with a solid dub, but if we know anything about maps that were recently played, it feels like FaZe have absolutely learned from their mistakes last time.
Oh yeah, without question, man. They definitely have learned from their mistakes, and you saw it right there in that control. It was a 3-0 last time around for Seattle, but this time it's for Atlanta FaZe, so the adjustments are in. Do they have more adjustments, though, going into this HyDra hardpoint, where this is another map that they fell short versus Seattle Surge? And the reasons why is because they let Sid go crazy again. Yeah, pretty sure he ended that map like 30 and 18, just took over alongside Mack. The turning point in the game was that P2 hardpoint where Seattle Surge were able to get a full 60 hole. So that's going to be what I'm really paying attention to on this map, is that Atlanta FaZe, they're able to slay with the best. We know that. We even saw aBeZy on this map go 38 and 12, almost single-handedly break the hardpoint kill record in less than 6 minutes played on the map. So they have the ability to clutch on up, but it's all about their setups. You saw Seattle, they were able to get a couple easy breaks in map number 1. It has to be different this time around for Atlanta FaZe. Got to be a lot cleaner off the rotations.
Yeah, without question. We talked about what FaZe needs to do this time around. I'll toss it the other way, Jay. What do you want to see Surge try to replicate from what they did in the Major 4 qualifiers?
I think the biggest thing for Seattle Surge is to make sure that you're rotating properly. You're putting yourself in those positions to set up properly over towards that new hard point, because when you're forcing when you're forcing Atlanta FaZe to find a break, you see their overall ranking 5th overall with a 2-4 record. So that's probably stat padded a little bit. but they usually do not find success when they are not spawning on the preferred side of maps. So if you're Seattle Surge, control the spawns. If you are Atlanta FaZe, get better setups.
Alrighty, HyDra Hardpoint, game number 4. What could be the final resting place of this series, or maybe the start of something special? Water outs indeed, as aBeZy decide to go on and put on that snorkel. Be ready, folks. Snorkels and snakes are absolutely ahead here on HyDra, and it's aBeZy who wins that opening engagement. That's not going to be the first, rather, that's not going to be the only time that we see aBeZy and Pred face off against each other. And hopefully, we'll see more of those gun engagements on land. But it is always fun to watch a few of those water battles go down. First, 30 seconds already off of P1. As both teams, very much so, just trying to control, looking to work for that right side of the map. As currently it is FaZe in control of it. We'll see how long that they can maintain that, as we've got some more water outs coming in.
Yeah, some more water outs coming in for Seattle Surge, or specifically out of Pred, who swims all the way from the middle of the map, all the way towards the back rock with that dead silence invested. So a couple players for Atlanta FaZe spawning out. They should get the info that there's potentially a player in towards the back. Pred does not spot aBeZy, at least for now, but Atlanta FaZe, they're currently holding on from the front side of the hill. Seattle Surge trying to set up the pitch.
This has just been a journey and a half for Pred. It felt like a trilogy was going on when it came down to his pursuit of the P2 spawns, but that chapter will close, and now for FaZe, will only continue to build. 35 seconds still to go. Simp with a crucial double kill. Now we'll set things up quite nicely. FaZe beginning to spawn on out, and that is absolute beams coming in from the Iceman. Half the time is still left, and Surge have broken right on forward. Excellent work coming in from them, considering that they had no right of getting those P2 spawns, as Pred looking to deliver. It is now 3 in a row. Make it 4.
Oh, the Predator is striking, man. He's starting to feel himself. Eventually does get shut down by aBeZy, but that's such a great break from Seattle Surge to give himself a nice little 15-point lead off the rotation. Atlanta FaZe are going to be set up nice and early. Look how they're playing this as well. You have Slasher all the way pushed out towards top rock. You also had Simp on the opposite side of the map, just creating layers for their team to get some great uncontested time. Fortunately, with Slasher dropping, now the front end is open. Seattle Surge, they can put on the pressure.
Yeah, that's a great call, man. It felt like, yeah, absolutely layers in that moment. And so aBeZy, given the fact that really his 2 interim in the filling, he's the one that has to fly on forward. Wonderful work from Surge to pick apart a few of these players. However, for Atlanta, you're just trying to hold them off for as long as you can. It's okay if you're not necessarily winning the slaying battles, as long as they're not the ones in the objective. But Seattle, it took them a while, but they eventually break on forward. 20 seconds is all they could potentially be getting when it comes down to this pursuit. It's all out headbutt going on right now here inside of the point. Back and forth we go. And while it's Surge who have a moment there, it is ultimately FaZe who come away with the majority of the time.
No, it's FaZe that come away with a majority of the time, but for that next hill, they do not have the spawns. They're all the way across the map, so Seattle should have some good uncontested time to start off this hill. As Sim and Pred are the aggressors on the map, they're able to cut down 2. They are not swimming. Not ready for the push coming in from aBeZy. That player is now going to fall into the hands of aCBeZy. The stun comes in, you get the info, you know where the pressure is coming from, and so far 20 uncontested seconds from Seattle Surge to take the lead right on back. It's been a great hold.
Absolutely has. aBeZy trying to dodge all the tacticals even underwater. Yes, they can explode. Wow. Not sure if that's actually real or not, but it doesn't matter. aBeZy, almost fictional at this point, manages to make his way through, and from there, it is a lovely little break toward the back here from Atlanta. Also, keep in mind, not just the fights that are going on here, but the fights that are going on the left side of your screen. Some big brawls going down, and it feels like it's Atlanta who are coming out on top of every single one of them. But now to the final hard point of the first side of rotations. It is basically a neck and neck game. FaZe with the bodies in the hill, but it's Surge with the spawns. We'll see who comes out on top.
Yeah, Surge just got to take their time, man. You cannot lose the gunfights that essentially spawn all the way across the map, because every single player from Atlanta FaZe is watching a certain angle. Simp's even teaching me a couple few ones as he's going to put that pressure on from the top end. At least finds the first. The trade is there from Cellium. And even with Seattle Surge having the back spawns, they cannot find an opening. So already, better setups from Atlanta FaZe. Crossfires are there, and it's leading to some much needed time. Oh my!
Oh, aBeZy! Able to erupt! Wonderful work coming in from half of the Tiny Terror duo, now on 5. Make it 6! Doesn't matter, Vaznev or Tak, the man can truly do it all. Wonderful work in the last hard point, and now the man is also trying to think about rotations. Get you a player that can do it all. And aBeZy, absolutely that guy just fires off a few random bullets, and both of them connect there onto the Iceman. As we'll go back toward P1, but we know it. aBeZy trying to go for the more valuable piece. Here on HyDra, brings in that streak, and we'll see what he can do with it. Very much so, still a thorn in the side of Surge.
Still a thorn on his side, but his teammates dropping the cruise missile, gets the info, but it's not able to get anything with it. So Seattle Surge maintaining the better side of the map. They know that aBeZy's still on the opposite side. aBeZy actually gets one kill on the Mack, and his teammate in Simp is able to spawn on him. So now Seattle Surge, this is where the game can start to get out of hand. You have to find a break onto this P1. You have to at least put yourself in a position to get some time off of P2, because Atlanta FaZe, they're looking like they're starting to run away with it. Oh man, every kill is going in their favor. This has been great hard point from Atlanta.
And I will say at the same time though, man, it felt like whenever aBeZy's calling in that streak, like if you're Surge, you gotta prioritize that. You gotta be aware of the fact that he's just hanging out. You know he's going on a spree. You know who is bringing in that streak. Just feels like a moment maybe where the communication starts to fail you a bit, but right now for Surge, they are staring at a mountain, one that they are going to have to try and overcome starting now. Let's step aside and see how the comms are sounding currently for Seattle Surge.
We're looking for aBeZy.
Yeah, in the back, then.
Nice,
AP1, look open.
One shot ruins, front close, in close, absolute.
I'm trying to get close.
Absolute, one tap clip, shoot him.
Nothing well left.
They missed the nades. Try to get a trophy on.
Yeah, I got you.
They could be pushing with their back left on me, don't you?
One more minute. 2P1 guys, 2P1, last 2P1, last 2P1. They want this. Last 2P1, watch this cross, bro. Last 2P1.
One shot, top blue, cell.
I'm dead.
Tap absolute.
I'll get your cross, I have your cross, stay down.
He's laying down, globe cut dead. Bottom globe.
I have your cross.
He's shelling. One more globe cut too. They're both there.
You cross now.
One more globe cut.
One more time. Coming back there.
Hey, enemies, close right corner.
One shot. Needed bro. Front door time. Nice.
Nothing else close.
Yeah,
Are you gonna swipe? I'm gonna go P1. Nothing close, hut. He could be on the bridge heady. He's not close. He's globe cut and bottom globe now.
Bottom globe, one shot.
Go.
Bottom globe, one shot.
P5 going pun. You might reflank the back if you're in the back. You might reflank his
Green, absolute and green south.
Top window, absolute. Went bottom.
And the communication right there from Seattle is calm, cool, and collected, but you can hear accuracy on the end of that P2. I have your cross. Do not Chow. Unfortunately, play on the hill. Chow's and Simp is able to find the break, and now make it a little bit more time for Seattle Surge to eventually get in towards this P3 hill. But by the time they get here, everyone gets cut down. Atlanta FaZe already breaching that 200-point mark. We were worried about their hard point game, and so far this hard point is everything going their way. 40 points away from them closing out the series.
And it's just so respectable to look at. I mean, like I said, they're up by 100 right now. We just saw them come off the 3-0 on LSCLO. These are two maps today. I know we've talked about it. We got to stress it some more. These are two maps where they pretty much, I don't want to say got dominated on, but just did not look solid against Surge. We jump in toward land. FaZe says, yeah, we want to play them again. And you can see the work that they have been putting in on the back end and preparation for Major 4. This is an Atlanta team who has absolutely been in the lab in preparation for their revenge here versus Surge, in a prime spot to do it. And there's really only one hard point that could set them into the driver's seat. Cellium, last player alive toward the back. See what he can try to accomplish. That's going to be two. Now nearly makes it three. Pred stays alive, keeping Surge up for the moment.
But you're not even mad about that if you are Atlanta FaZe. You kept Seattle off the time, even with them having those early spawns, with everyone just staying alive in their positions. And now you can eventually hop on that time to try to close out this game. You cannot win in here, but this is some good time if you can get this final 8 seconds. Forcing Seattle Surge on that early rotation. It has to be perfect hard point from here on out. Last time they were at the P5, they had the back spawns, but there was no one in towards the hill. A full 60 hold from Atlanta FaZe. Cellium is going to invest that cruise missile, get that info for his teammates, who are trying to eventually set up that pinch as Simp is working his way up the warehouse.
And a great start there for MC. All three are found. Mack.
Oh my.
That is all 4 down, making a 5th. It's a team kill, but it should not matter. FaZe seconds away from revenge. Oh, it's so close. It was so close. They had it. They felt like the dub was right there. And just as that occurs, It looks like the final few team fights are gonna go their way. And there you go. Atlanta FaZe say, keep doubting us, why don't you? And Simp says it all. A little quiet, not a whole lot of chirping going on. A 3-0 just a week ago. And it's FaZe here on land, here at Major 4. That 3-1, the Seattle Surge.
It's just a totally different team, man. You heard Simp talking a little bit of smack. It's real quiet in here. No one's chirping this time around as Atlanta FaZe once again looking like the final boss out of all these teams. I'm telling you right now, if they're playing a little bit more HyDra hardpoint just like that, first map was a shakeup. It's just due to their setups. That's something you can go back and fix. But they dominated in the control. Their S&D was dominant as well in a 6-2 factor. And then when you get to this hard point, which is a map they recently just lost to Seattle Surge, we were worried about the adjustments being made. They make every correct move to almost dominate these guys by 100 points to close out the series 3-1. I thought I was going to be worried for Atlanta FaZe. Everyone was saying that this team was not going to be one of those teams that we talk about being a contender, or at least a top 3 contender going into this major. But with a win like that, in my mind, Atlanta FaZe back on top.
Absolutely, man. I mean, it was a huge game, right? It was a huge matchup when it comes down to Surge, their confidence level moving forward. It felt like it was a statement game. Like, if FaZe lose this, how differently we begin to think about them. But they come away with the dub. Slasher, unbelievable performance toward the stretch, lights things up in the control. We talked about how his hardpoint KD was starting to go down, puts up 22 and 19, most hill time for his squad as FaZe get the job done. And I'll tell you what, man, I know HyDra hardpoint, you know, is just one map out of the rotation that we have, but if we're seeing them light up and search the store like we know they can, if they're able to clean up a few things in the hardpoint, actually be able to translate, which, as we said, they've been talking about it. It feels like they are nasty when it comes into scrims. They've just not been able to do it when it comes down to LAN or in these important matches. And if they're winning controls like this versus one of the best control teams in the game on their best map, it feels like sky's the limit once more for this FaZe roster.
Yeah, you best believe, man, that if Atlanta FaZe falls short in the series, they're going to go back and put in the work. I know we think that these guys are 4 of the best talented players to ever just Call of Duty, but they're working hard in the back end, and it definitely showed in this series.
Yeah, it absolutely did. A huge, huge victory here for Atlanta FaZe as they get the revenge versus the Seattle Surge. That's going to do it for myself and Jay as we toss things over to Maven, who is joined alongside by Slasher.
Thank you, gentlemen. All right, listen, coming into this, some of the comments I was reading on Reddit or wherever it was, just you guys suck. You don't have it anymore. Listen, you were the scapegoat for a lot of it. I know you're not big on social and not much FaZe you at this point, but like, I'm seeing drop Slasher and he doesn't have what it takes and blah, 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 blah. And you guys come in here and handle business. But I just want to hear from you, like, at this point in your career, like, that type of stuff FaZe you at all anymore?
Nah, not really. I really don't care what people have to say at this point. I've literally proved everything for 10 years. I've done it all. I've won it all. Like, it doesn't matter to me. And honestly, too, like, I knew the situation coming in that I was going to be the scapegoat if we weren't winning. Sure. That's just the situation I'm in. I like the pressure, though. You know, I can always handle it. And, yeah, this past stage, like, we've been playing pretty poor. It's obvious I've been playing poor. I was really sick, too, to be fair. I mean, that's not a full excuse, but, like, my practice was just terrible and stuff like that. So I'm starting to feel a little better now, and obviously I played better, too. So, yeah, we're actually good. Who thought?
Wild concept. No, I'll like gas you sometimes and just get flack for. I'm like, well, you guys, like, listen, it's just the expectation for you. Like, you've been #1 in CDL points every year, like FaZe has, like highest average placement. Like, yeah, you don't win every event, but like, you guys have what 2/3 in a first place. Like, you're doing all right. But now, listen, I talk to Chris a lot. Obviously, I game with him every single day. Crowder, the coach, and I know you guys have been working really hard on changing some things in how you guys play. And it seems frustrating because I know how the scrims go sometimes, and you guys are disgusting. And then it's like you get to the match, and sometimes things fall short. What's kind of been difficult sometimes just playing the same way you do in scrims?
That's the tough thing, right? Because you don't play too many matches, so it's hard to work on something like that. We can only just keep, hammering it down and stuff like that and keep trusting the process. And as long as we have faith in each other and faith in the game plan and stick to it, like, we're going to be all right. Like, right there, like, the HyDra online versus them, we kind of got smoked. And I feel like we were in full control the whole time and played the map well. So it's just about, honestly, we just need, like, a little spark, I feel like, in hardpoint. And once we get that spark under our belt, we're going to be dominant in all 3 modes.
Well, yeah, it's just funny because, like, I don't know how else to word it. Like with the caliber of talent on the team, you guys struggling at hardpoint is just silly. Like it feels like you shouldn't, but you guys have. But you're working on stuff, and then for you individually, yeah, you came in. And I know there was some flack and stuff. You don't care, but like you came in and you played really well. It had to feel good just to. I mean, maps 2 and 3 dominated. Yeah,
I mean, it always feels well to play like good, right? But yeah, I don't know. Just coming into the event, I knew like the situation at hand. I knew I had to play better and play better for my guys because I've been letting them down on the online stage. So I'm happy to get one under my belt. But that's only the first series of the event, so I got to keep it up.
Well, hell of a win. And like you've had these crazy series, I think, always with Surge. But this one, you guys, you come in, you handle business. Thank you as always. That'll do it here for me and Slasher. We'll get back over to the desk.
Thank you very much, Maven. Congratulations to Slasher and the rest of FaZe who move into a winner's semifinals once again here at Major number 4. Atlanta FaZe, you win against them tonight, Allie. I got to rub this in here for a second. Okay. You had the faith in Surge. Yeah. What was different from what we saw just a week ago?
I mean, I have to say it. I mean, Slasher had a really tough qualifier, past couple of qualifiers, and he came up and he showed up on LAN when he needed to. And Slasher is clearly different, and they came in with a game plan. I mean, that LSCO control, you could tell the work that they put in. I mean, they lost that same map and mode 0-3 last time to Seattle Surge, literally last week. So I am very much tip my hat to the work that Atlanta FaZe put in and hope they can continue it forward.
Chad is pointing out maybe sound not as important as it is online. There's no sound EQ on LAN, but we'll talk about that later. For now, we got to take a look at our scuff play of the game, and it comes from a young man who likes to light up control. He goes by the name of Simp. Former MVP, considered one of the best in the game. Going back to his peak performance levels, we saw him pop it off in this game 3. Surge had no chance on this map.
He's decided he doesn't need to L-trigger anymore. I mean, those hip-fire kills were disgusting. But yeah, again, this map number 3 was just absolute dominance from the likes of Atlanta FaZe. And that control is where they had been winning their series a lot of times because of how dominant their search and destroys look. So to see them put up such a fight against Seattle in that first hotel, only a 20-point difference, and then turn around and beat them on that HyDra by over 100+ points, this is looking like a terrifying Atlanta FaZe.
Simp goes on a spree and ends his game with the missile, and that is going to be Atlanta FaZe with a 3-1 over Seattle Surge. Nameless, we got to take a look back at all the matches, though, on the day. Going all the way back to the beginning, LA Thieves were matching up against Minnesota Røkkr. What'd you think about these guys?
Honestly, I thought Thieves had a pretty clean-cut series. The control got a bit interesting when you look at that one, but, you know, this is a series that Thieves have dominated traditionally throughout this year, right? It was going to be no different coming into this one. And if you're Minnesota Røkkr, you're on that bubble, but good for you. The Vegas Legion lost as well, so you still are tied and you're both in losers round 1, so still very much potential for them. For Thieves, I think we're all sitting here looking at how long of a run can they truly make? Are they championship contenders? Because certainly they look like it after today's match.
Yeah, and honestly, we want to, find some light at the end of the tunnel for Minnesota. They finally get a map on LA Thieves, is on that Expo control. And I feel like Afro showed up once again. I feel like that's a player that when we get on local area network, he's usually the one to pop off. I felt like he had at least somewhat of a series for himself, but moving forward, obviously, expectations still need to be much higher for Minnesota.
I'm so confused. Røkkr were able to put together the multi-kills, but weren't able to put together multi-wins. They take just one map as they get an Expo in this series. Another squad looking to impress this weekend comes in with a Raleigh trophy already in their case. We've got the New York Subliners looking phenomenal. I have to say, the best team on the day. They didn't let Legion close in any of the 3 games.
They absolutely smoked them. I mean, I don't know if it was Legion underperforming or New York just getting back to major dominance, but Skyz today was destroying everybody. I mean, they took turns, right? Like Skyz and HyDra in the beginning, and then towards the end, it was Priestahh who was taking over in the control. This is a New York team that has all the talent in the world. They've just been going through some turmoil the last couple of majors, working on different game modes. First it was Search, and now it's been the hard point, and they seemingly have figured it all out at the right time. Another team, how far can they truly go? It looks like they're championship contenders after match 1, but it's only against Legion. We'll see if they can do it in winners round 2.
I will say when it comes to that matchup, I think the most impressive map for me had to be that LSCO Search and Destroy. For New York Subliners to win it 6-0, not only is it impressive for the fact that they have been a heavy respawn hitting team for the entire season, but they win against the Vegas Legion, which are technically, at least statistically, our #1 Search and Destroy team this split. So that was a dominant map 2 from them, and it's making them look terrifying moving forward.
There was our winner of the second match of the day. Your third match featured OpTic Texas going up against Boston Breach, and while OpTic didn't get it done in 3, they did take control of this series. I do want to give credit, Awakening, especially that final game, looking very strong. But Breach as a whole, they're looking for a trophy. Top 4 wasn't enough for them. They're looking like a top 4, maybe below team to me.
Yeah, I mean, I think I saw the potential today in the Boston Breach. I really like what I saw from Kremp. There were a couple issues that we saw throughout these hard points, but they can go back and they're easily identifiable. I think Wake had himself a hell of a performance, but let's switch over to OpTic, because these guys, time and time again, are so impressive. Like in the hard point, even when it feels like Breach has the advantage and when they're out slaying, OpTic are still in these games, proving that the teamwork and the fundamentals are at a level where they don't even need to slay at times that they're winning. I mean, like Dashy, or what was it, Ghosty was 10 and 24 on map 1, and they won comfortably, right? So they have such a good system within this OpTic team. Definitely still a favorite.
As well as being on a 10 hardpoint win streak, even then they were down in the hotel, they were able to clutch up and stay confident and pull out that W. I think they are 1 match away from tying the hardpoint win streak, and then 2 matches away from setting the record in a row.
And Ghosty and OpTic getting the win over their former challengers opponent, Beans and Kremp. And now OpTic faces off against the Subliners in that winners round 2. Thieves will face off against Atlanta FaZe, a little showdown from what we saw back at Boston. And they're in the bottom half of your bracket. Breach had the toughest draw. They have to face off against Ultra in that first round, while the Legion take on the Mutineers. Røkkr have the Ravens, and Surge have the Guerrillas.
Can I just say, I didn't get to comment on it, but looking at, like, FaZe had such a good performance just now against Seattle, 3-1 victory. These guys can really come out and make a run. That is like a championship match, that Thieves versus FaZe game. That's going to be lit. That's the game I'm looking at. But for now, we won't get to watch any winners games. It's losers games tomorrow. I'm focused on the Vegas Legion. Can they bounce back? Because today was bad.
What about you, Allie? Which match is the best for you?
I mean, it's got to be the Boston and Toronto match. I mean, and that was going to be no matter if it was Texas or Boston that found themselves in that situation. I think my biggest question mark will be, will Toronto show up, or will Boston Breach be able to win again in the game number 5?
Fantastic day number 1, but it's just 1 of 4, so make sure you set your alarms and lock in. We're coming back with day 2, bright and early, 1 o'clock with the headquarters show. We'll get live with the matches at 1:30 p.m. Eastern. Thank you all for tuning in. Enjoy your evening. We'll see you on Ranked.
I keep it funky, homie. That's what the streets told me. And grind hard, keep your guard, cause some people phony. And keep your mind on your money, cause the girl's funny. And 9 months later, now you really see who done this. Not your boy, though. I learned to creep slow. I punish in this sucker trying to stop your boy, though. It's just a Mack flow when I'm in the studio. We mix it down and press it up and watch me rock a damn show. And call the radio and tell them something new in town. And all that bubble gone rapping, please lay it down. I said it with a frown. I hope you comprehend. And no, I'm not your road dog or your best friend. Bet your bottom dollar that I get that, flip that. Hustle in my blood, so I get that, flip that. Bet your bottom dollar that I get that, flip that. Hustle in my blood, so I get that, flip that. Bet your bottom dollar that I get that, flip that. Hustle in my blood, so I get that, flip that. Bet your bottom dollar that I get that, flip that. Hustle in my blood, so I get that, flip that. Bet your bottom dollar that I get that, flip that. Hustle in my blood, so I get that, flip that. Bet your bottom dollar that I get that, flip that. Hustle in my blood, so I get that, flip that. Bet your bottom dollar that I get that, flip that. Hustle in my blood, so I get that, flip that. Bet your bottom dollar that I get that, flip that. Hustle in my blood, so I get that, flip that.
Oh, you put your back longer. Yo, iron up. They're about to have Daddy. Barney or top down? Wait, I think they're probably looking, right? Yeah, they have Daddy about to Nice. Sheesh, bro.
Good shit, man.
Hold that. Sheesh.
Okay,
Bro, my
Brandon.
POV that, dude.